They were sisters connected by blood. Yet, her own sister pointed a sharp blade at her. "Let's say our goodbyes now." In the moment before the blade's light extinguished her, flashes of her short life raced through Harper's mind. She was the second daughter of the most powerful and influential Duke Lupern of the Empire, and also the fiancée of Crown Prince Crane. Her seemingly illustrious and wealthy life was, in reality, utterly miserable. Harper's mother was just a maid who became pregnant with her after a tryst with the drunken Duke. This made her a thorn in the side of her half-sister, Callista, who often sought opportunities to get rid of her. To save her own life, Harper accepted the Crown Prince's proposal. However, the Crown Prince did not truly love her. His goal was merely to absorb the Duke's power and wealth. What was more terrifying was that the Crown Prince was a warmonger. He killed the Emperor to seize the throne, instigated wars everywhere, and ruled the country with brutal methods. He also frequently threatened and intimidated Harper. Ultimately, the Crown Prince's tyranny sparked a revolution, and the one who led the people in resistance was none other than her sister, Callista. Callista led the rebel army, fighting their way to the palace with unstoppable momentum, listening to the chaotic sounds of battle outside. Harper, trapped in the palace, waited quietly. Soon, the screams outside the door came to an abrupt halt. A silver-haired woman in armor walked in. Although she had long been mentally prepared, Harper couldn't help but tremble at the sight of Callista. "Long time no see, sister. Congratulations on becoming the victor." Callista quietly gazed at Harper. Her deep blue eyes reflected the girl's respectful figure. "Now please kill us." However, Callista spoke up and asked, "In your secret letters, you detailed the Crown Prince's strategies and army size. You even included his escape routes. Why did you help me?" "Of course, it's because this country needs you, sister." After Callista inherited the dukedom, the family's territory became even more prosperous than before. She was deeply loved by the people. A sister like that would be a monarch 1,000 times better than the Crown Prince. Only under her rule could this war-torn country find prosperity again. Moreover, she would sincerely mourn the common people who died in the war and remember them from the bottom of her heart. Thinking of this, Harper felt a pang of sadness. Perhaps she was the only person her sister hated. "You were right, sister. After leaving the ducal manor, I truly had nowhere to go. But at that time, I just wanted to live. If fate dictates that we cannot coexist, then dying at your hands is a natural choice." Harper reached out, grasped the blade, and pressed it against her own neck. Her eyes were resolute. "Kill me. This war can then be truly over." Callista didn't move. The why is no longer important. Callista took a deep breath. Indeed, it's not important. She looked at Harper, who was quietly awaiting death's arrival, and slowly raised her sword. Before her consciousness faded, Harper thought bitterly, "Letting me die without pain. This is probably the first and last time my sister will show me mercy." However, her life did not end there. Amidst calls of her name, Harper managed to open her eyes. Isn't this Jenna, the maid she had been separated from for many years? "Oh my God, did you die too?" Jenna looked confused. "My lady, what nonsense are you speaking?" She reached out to feel Harper's forehead. The realness of the touch instantly sobered Harper up. She looked around. Wasn't this her old room in the ducal manor? Looking at herself in the mirror, Harper asked, "How old am I now?" "My lady, you just turned 8 3 days ago." For a moment, she didn't know how to react. "I finally managed to die. So how did I end up 10 years in the past? Does this mean I have to go through all the pain I once experienced all over again?" The house of Duke Lupern, the most powerful in the empire, was an existence that even the emperor dared not provoke lightly. There were 2 candidates for succession in the family. The eldest daughter, Callista, was born to the duke and his first wife, Lucille. She not only possessed outstanding beauty, but also excelled in swordsmanship, politics, economics, and the arts. But the duke disliked both her and her mother, eventually divorcing his first wife. As for the second daughter, Harper, she was the unexpected child of the duke's drunken affair with a maid. The servants all looked down on Harper's origins. A maid actually gave birth to the duke's illegitimate daughter. But to keep Callista in check, the duke decided to marry the maid. He publicly acknowledged Harper's status as his daughter. To outsiders, the duke was a gentle and good man who loved his wife and daughter. But in reality, he despised this child born of a lowly maid. Even the way he looked at Harper was filled with disgust. In her past life, the Duke had always wanted a new heir, but he passed away before he could have one. At that time, the family elders, in order to prevent Callista from inheriting the title, claimed that Harper was the Duke's true intended heir. And this matter ultimately gave the crown prince, who had been coveting the ducal house, an opportunity to exploit. Recalling all the events of her past life, Harper's mind was a mess. Will I die at my sister's hands again this time? She hadn't even had a chance to properly enjoy this world. She didn't want to repeat the mistakes of her past life. Thinking back carefully, her sister should be studying at the Royal Academy right now, while her father was busy traveling and enjoying himself. Harper sorted through her past memories while stuffing bread into her mouth. Instantly, a disgusting taste filled her mouth, and Harper couldn't help but spit it out. Jenna patted her back sympathetically and brought her a cup of water to rinse her mouth. Only then did Harper remember. In her past life, because she was not favored by her father, she was long subjected to neglect and bullying. She never had a decent meal. Every time, the food sent from the kitchen was moldy and spoiled. She could only survive on the bread Jenna secretly brought her. The more Harper thought about it, the angrier she became. To be reborn only to not even have proper food to eat. Why should she have to repeat such a life? She grabbed the spoiled bread, rushed out of the room, and headed straight for the kitchen. In her past life, she had thought this abuse was ordered by her sister. But she later understood that if her sister hated someone, she would just chop off their head directly. She would never resort to such despicable means of torture. In that case, the mastermind was obvious. I want to see the head chef. The servants were very surprised to see Harper suddenly appear in the kitchen. Harper glanced around and saw the kitchen was filled with exquisite dishes, vibrant in color, aroma, and taste. And yet, what she ate was moldy bread. Just then, a portly man walked over. This person was the head chef, Leroy. According to her memories from her past life, he was a distant relative of the Duke's third wife, Clarissa, and often stole from the ducal estate to pay off his gambling debts. His most common trick was to swap Harper's normal food with spoiled items, pocketing the difference between the official budget and the actual expenditure. After all, a neglected child like Harper couldn't do anything to him, even if she was found out. Harper held the spoiled bread in front of him, demanding some fresh food. The head chef sneered. "My lady, you don't understand this bread. It's supposed to be like this. These green spots are its special feature. If you don't even know this, people will laugh at your ignorance. Though, considering your mother's bloodline, I can understand." Seeing the head chef's shameless expression, Harper's teeth itched with anger. Her mother had died with the title of Duchess. She herself was the Duke's daughter, yet she was being insulted by such a person. Although the surrounding servants also disapproved of the head chef's actions, no one dared to speak up and stop him. Even His Majesty the Emperor loves this kind of bread. "My lady, don't be unreasonable. Just be a good girl and eat it." He lowered his voice, threatening Harper. "Go back to your room and stay there. Tomorrow, the day after, and for the rest of your life, this is all you'll get to eat." Harper was ruthlessly kicked out of the kitchen. Although she was angry, she wasn't discouraged. With what the head chef had just said, the next steps would be easy. Just then, the kitchen door opened. The Duchess Clarissa's maid, Salia, came out pushing a food trolley. She used to bully Harper often, and this food was clearly Clarissa's lunch. An idea suddenly struck Harper. She pretended to bump into the trolley accidentally. The water pitcher overturned. "What are you doing?" Salia shrieked, glaring at Harper. "Did you do that on purpose? I'm going to tell the Duchess right now. You just wait." She stormed back to the kitchen to get a new water pitcher. Harper seized the opportunity to swap the delicious pastries on the tray with the moldy bread. After returning to her room, Harper enjoyed the desserts. She even invited Jenna to eat with her. Suddenly, the room door was thrown open. Clarissa, followed by Salia and the head chef, stormed in menacingly. Clarissa's eyes were sharp as she sized up Harper. "You little brat, how dare you tamper with my food?" Harper looked straight into her eyes, unafraid. Clarissa signaled for Salia to accuse Harper of her crime. Looking at her swollen cheek, Harper guessed she must have been slapped because of the moldy bread. She couldn't stand it after this one time. "I've been eating it since I was a child." Seeing Harper's lack of remorse, Clarissa sneered. "It seems you refuse to admit your mistake. Then don't blame me for teaching you a lesson." "Drag her out," Salia grabbed Harper's arm, while the head chef restrained Jenna, who was trying to save her. Clarissa lifted Harper's chin with her fan. To touch my food, it seems I'll have to lock you up for a few days to teach you a lesson. The woman's cold eyes reminded Harper of her past life. Back then, she thought Clarissa was deliberately making things difficult for her to please her sister. She never expected that a few years later, this woman would conspire with her father's younger brother to assassinate her sister. Later on, she was dealt with by her sister, who had inherited the title, using similar means. Thinking of this, Harper became even calmer. She asked what exactly she had done wrong. Clarissa raised an eyebrow. You made me eat that garbage. Isn't that wrong? But the head chef clearly said it was an expensive bread that even His Majesty the Emperor loves. I saw that the Duchess's trolley only had ordinary pastries, so I specially swapped them, wanting the Duchess to have a taste as well. Clarissa was taken aback for a moment. The head chef, however, panicked. She's lying, Your Grace. I've been a chef for 30 years. How could I serve something like this? It's true. Everyone in the kitchen just heard it. And I eat this kind of bread every day. Clarissa sneered, her gaze shifting to Jenna. If that's the case, then your maid, Jenna, is the most suspicious one. How dare she secretly swap your food for personal gain? Jenna's face instantly turned pale. The head chef breathed a sigh of relief. Search Jenna's room now. If even a single suspicious item is found, even one coin, she will be beaten half to death as a thief, and then cast out of the territory. Clarissa gripped Harper's shoulder tightly, threatening her. If you admit your mistake now and beg for forgiveness, I might let you go. Of course, the punishment is still unavoidable. How about it? Fine. Harper agreed readily. This reaction stunned everyone present. What did you say? I agree to have Jenna's room searched. After all, Your Grace, you want to help me find the culprit who stole my food. So please go ahead and search. Now, even the servants who were gathering outside to watch the commotion began to whisper. Do you really not care if Jenna gets thrown out? If she's the culprit, then of course not. However, please search the head chef as well. After all, who knows if the food was already bad in the kitchen or if it spoiled after passing through Jenna's hands. So, searching both of them would be the fairest. Seeing the crowd of onlookers growing, Clarissa became anxious. I am a mistress of this ducal house. Don't you dare try to order me around. But Your Grace, you do not have the authority to decide a servant's fate. Harper looked towards the door and deliberately raised her voice. That is a privilege reserved for Butler Theon. At the mention of the butler's name, Clarissa's expression twisted even more. It seems I have neglected your education, allowing you to become so insolent. My education is also the responsibility of Butler Theon. Harper replied, neither servile nor overbearing. Enraged, Clarissa raised her hand to strike her. Suddenly, a slender hand caught the woman's wrist. That's enough, Your Grace. A man with glasses and a cold, handsome face appeared behind Clarissa. Harper's eyes lit up. Uncle Theon is here. The vicious stepmother raised her arm high. Just as she was about to strike the 8-year-old girl she had been abusing, Butler Theon intervened at the critical moment. That's enough, Your Grace. His voice was calm and authoritative. A glimmer of hope flashed in Harper's eyes. Theon was the youngest butler in the Lupern ducal house. Despite his commoner background, he graduated first in his class from the Royal Academy. In just 1 year after taking his post, he sorted out the chaotic finances of the estate. He was a stern man, known for being principled above all else. In the ducal house, aside from the duke and the eldest lady, Callista, he held the most practical decision-making power. In her past life, her sister Callista greatly admired Theon's abilities and had recruited him to her side early on. Because of this, Clarissa, who held the title of Duchess but no real power, was very displeased to see Theon appear. Harper recalled Theon's kindness to her in the past. Besides, he had not yet pledged his loyalty to her sister. Given his principles, he should be willing to help her, right? Harper cast a pleading look at him, but Theon deliberately avoided her gaze. This made Harper's heart sink. Your Grace, I will handle the search. Theon pulled the nearby bell rope to summon the guards, but there was no response. Harper kindly reminded him, in my room, no one will come even if you scream your lungs out. Jenna always has to go and fetch them personally. After all, for a pitiful, insignificant person like her, even the servants paid no mind. Theon was silent for a moment. He then touched the magic brooch on his chest. 4 or 5 guards immediately lined up, ready for orders. Immediately searched the rooms of the maid Jenna, and the head chef Leroy. Report immediately if any suspicious assets or ledgers are found. The search concluded quickly. Nothing was found in either of their rooms. The head chef was clearly skilled at hiding evidence. This was all within Harper's expectations. When Theon ordered the search area to be expanded, Clarissa finally couldn't sit still. Is it necessary to make such a big fuss over a child's lie? Can't we just end this by punishing Harper and her maid? It is not yet known who is lying. Seeing that the time was right, Harper suddenly asked, "Uncle Theon, does the West Tower also belong to the ducal estate?" At these words, the head chef's face changed drastically. Strictly speaking, yes, but that is a forbidden area. No one has set foot there for years. There's no need to search it, but Jenna often goes there for walks. Harper's words caused an uproar among the crowd. Jenna hurriedly defended herself. "My lady, I've never been there." Theon was a bit surprised. "My lady, do you suspect Jenna as well? I thought you would suspect the head chef. Does my opinion matter?" "Then what does matter?" "Evidence." Harper looked directly into his eyes. Because anyone in a position of judgment must maintain equal suspicion towards everyone. This sentence made Theon's pupils shrink slightly because it was a direct quote from his graduation thesis. It turned out that in her past life, when Harper was imprisoned by the Crown Prince, she had nothing to do but spend her time in the library. There, she had unintentionally come across the theses and books written by Theon. Suddenly, the head chef yelled at the two of them. No one in the ducal house dares to set foot in the West Tower. Searching there is a complete waste of time. His reaction was clearly overly agitated. Theon frowned. He immediately ordered his men to go and search. Soon, the guards returned with shocking news. They had discovered a large number of gold bars and a ledger with the head chef's name on it hidden in the tower. It detailed the public funds he had embezzled over the years. All of this was what Harper had accidentally discovered in the tower in her past life. Seeing that his crimes were exposed, the head chef's face turned deathly pale. He quickly knelt and kowtowed, begging Theon for mercy. Theon's voice was cold, without a trace of warmth. "If you make a mistake, you must pay the price. Prepare your head." Harper's heart tightened. Was he going to be sentenced to death directly? Theon then produced a testimony from a kitchen assistant, confirming that the head chef had long been providing Harper with moldy bread and poor quality food. Embezzling the ducal house's assets is already a serious crime, but providing the young lady with garbage for meals is even more heinous. Fortunately, the young lady is fine now. If she had fallen ill or even died because of this, could you have borne the consequences? The head chef trembled all over, cold sweat soaking his back. He looked frantically at Clarissa for help, but Clarissa wished she could be far away, afraid of being implicated. Theon glanced at him with disgust. Unfortunately, a butler's authority is not enough to sentence you to death. He gestured to the guards. Confiscate all of Leroy's property, break both his arms, and banish him from the ducal estate. Soon, the head chef's screams echoed throughout the hall. Theon turned to Clarissa, his tone calm, but with an underlying warning. "When the Duke returns, I will report today's events to him in detail. You had best prepare yourself." This infuriated Clarissa. How dare a mere butler threaten the Duchess? But her anger was useless against Theon. Just then, Harper gently tugged on Theon's sleeve. "Uncle, can we not tell father about this?" Theon looked down at her. "Is the young lady defending the Duchess?" "No. It's just that the matter is resolved, so there's no need to bother father. Besides, that cold man wouldn't give her a second glance because of this anyway." Theon was silent for a moment. "Since it is the young lady's request, I can agree." He narrowed his eyes slightly. "However, you probably have other conditions." Harper gave an obedient smile. "Yes, I want the Duchess to apologize to Jenna in public." The girl was actually demanding that the Duchess apologize to a maid. This stunned them both. Clarissa's eyes were wide with disbelief. "You're actually making me apologize to a maid?" But Harper had an expression that said, "If you don't apologize, I won't back down. If you don't apologize, I will tell father everything that happened today." Theon also applied pressure from his side. "The Duke has always valued the Duchess. He might not take his anger out on you, but it's not impossible that he might do something unexpected in a fit of passion." Clarissa bit her lip hard. Her position was not stable. Recently, she had even received news that the Duke had a new favorite. She absolutely could not let such a small matter shake her foundation. She took a deep breath, closed her eyes, and squeezed out from between her teeth, "Jenna, I'm sorry. I promise this will never happen again." seeing the ever-proud Duchess actually bow her head to a maid. The onlooking servants were instantly dumbfounded and began to whisper among themselves. Harper rejoiced inwardly. This was what she wanted. From now on, whenever the servants saw Jenna, they would remember that she was the only one who had made the Duchess apologize. The maid's status was invisibly elevated. When interacting with her, they would naturally not dare to be negligent. Master and servant are one. Harper's situation would also improve greatly. She would no longer have to worry about eating moldy, spoiled food. As Clarissa left, she even vented her anger on the onlooking servants. It seemed she was truly furious. At this point, Harper brought up the issue of the bell rope to Theon. Rest assured, my lady, from now on, when you pull the bell rope, someone will arrive promptly. Actually, I can't reach it. Harper stood on her tiptoes, her small hand grasping futilely at the air. Theon adjusted his glasses, his tone calm. I see. Your legs are indeed rather short. The blunt assessment mercilessly stung Harper's heart. It's because I don't get enough to eat that I'm not growing taller, okay? In that case, we will add a ribbon to the rope. Just as Theon was about to leave, Harper made another request. I want to use the central library, specifically the west wing on the 3rd floor. That place housed a collection of books and documents on sorcery and ancient magic, as well as rare maps that couldn't be found anywhere else. Harper wanted to go there to do some advanced reconnaissance and learn about the future battle zones between the Crown Prince and her sister, Callista. In order to live well in this life, Harper had formulated a survival plan. First, use the library to identify safe areas during the war and plan an escape route. Second, secretly steal and sell valuable treasures from the family to raise funds for her escape. Third, no matter how fiercely the Crown Prince and Callista fought, she had to withdraw in time and flee far away. Please, Uncle Theon, just let me go. Harper blinked her big eyes, looking innocent and pleading. Theon was slightly suspicious. You can certainly enter the library. However, the books on the west side of the 3rd floor are all written in an ancient language. Can you understand them? Of course, Harper could understand them. After all, in her past life, she had been imprisoned in the library for several years. The next morning, after enjoying a long-awaited delicious breakfast, Harper took the water cup Jenna had prepared for her and set off for the library. Suddenly, Jenna called out to her. Harper turned around. Jenna was kneeling before her. My lady, you saved me yesterday. If you hadn't exposed what the head chef did, I would have been beaten half to death by the Duchess and thrown out of the ducal estate. Harper waved her hands in a flurry. No, that's not it. If I hadn't barged into the kitchen in the first place, none of this would have happened. But Jenna was deep in self-reproach. As your maid, I should have solved these problems for you long ago. Because you never once complained. I cowardly thought that I was already doing a good enough job. It wasn't until yesterday when you insisted that the Duchess apologize to me. At that moment, I realized that from now on, you are the only master I will serve loyally. Jenna solemnly kissed the back of Harper's hand. As long as I live, this oath will never change. For a moment, Harper didn't know what to say. In her past life, she had never heard anyone say such words to her. Back then, Jenna was also a very good person, but there was a distance between them. In her past life, Harper didn't want to involve Jenna in her troubles, and Jenna had no reason to take risks for Harper. Later, Jenna left the ducal estate and married a magician known as the Hidden Master, which allowed her to survive the turmoil of war. But in this life, the bond between them seemed much stronger. The 8-year-old girl stood at the library door, but for the life of her, she couldn't push the heavy doors open. Why is this door so hard to open? I should have brought Jenna with me. After Harper's relentless effort, the door finally opened a crack. Great! I finally pushed it open. Just as she was breathing a sigh of relief, the door suddenly swung inward violently. She lost control and fell forward. Just as she was about to have an intimate encounter with the floor, Butler Theon caught her in time. Causing such a commotion on your first day, second young lady. Theon was somewhat displeased with the noise Harper made, reminding her to be quiet in the library. Theon's expression was serious as he explained many of the library's rules to Harper. Suddenly, Theon began to cough violently. Harper quickly went to him, concerned. Uncle, are you all right? Theon waved his hand, explaining that he wasn't sick, just that the weather had been too dry lately. But his face was growing paler and paler. Harper suddenly remembered that Theon in her past life also used to suppress his cough like this. What could be the reason? Suddenly, Harper noticed the large scar on his neck. A terrible guess surfaced in her mind. Could it be because of that? Curiosity drove Harper to want to find out more, but Theon's attitude was very resistant. This matter does not concern you. Second young lady. Harper had no choice but to give up. Since she was already in the library, she didn't need to curry favor with Theon for now. After all, he would eventually pledge his loyalty to her sister, Callista. He might even follow her sister's orders to kill her. The most important thing now was to think about how to survive in this world. Under Theon's guidance, Harper finally arrived at the West Wing on the 3rd floor of the Ducal House's central library. The shelves, reaching up to the ceiling, were filled with precious books. The magnificent scale of it all amazed her. Theon pointed to a seat not far away. "I will be over there. Please take your time browsing." Harper's small figure weaved through the bookshelves, searching. Suddenly, she felt a mysterious power surrounding her. Her body began to move uncontrollably, as if being pulled by an invisible force. Harper was led to a bookshelf. A heavy book slid out from the shelf on its own, landing steadily in her hands. Time of Magic. The gilded title shimmered faintly in the light. Harper looked around in surprise. Was this book calling to her? She had heard before that the magical power of some magicians could remain in their books and attract people with a matching affinity. But she had no magical power. She opened the book. A few large words leaped into her view. Rebirth, regarding the legend. She almost cried out in surprise. No way. Could this book have recognized her as a reincarnator? Harper read it carefully. The book recorded that to reverse time, one needed the legendary dragon's eye, a gem that could transcend time and space, as well as a powerful magical energy infused within it, plus a strong will to sacrifice one's life. However, the dragon's eye itself existed only in legends. Even if one found it and met all the conditions, no one would be foolish enough to actually reverse time, because it meant losing all memories and possibly pushing the future down an even more destructive path. Harper found it strange, but she hadn't lost her memories. Could there be other ways to reverse time? So you really can read the ancient language. Theon's sudden appearance startled Harper. Only then did Harper realize that the book in her hands was written in an ancient language. No wonder it felt so familiar. Thinking back to her past life, Harper had always been mistreated in the ducal house and thus never received a formal education. Ironically, it was only after being imprisoned by the crown prince that she was able to read real books. Harper learned very quickly, especially ancient languages. Once she grasped the basic rules, they were easy to understand. But the crown prince had always belittled Harper. How could you possibly learn an ancient language? Stop pretending. Theon scrutinized Harper with a suspicious gaze. Who taught you to read the ancient language? Have you studied any other subjects? For a moment, Harper didn't know how to answer. Recalling Theon's previous cold attitude towards her, Harper decided to give him a taste of his own medicine. Because I'm a young lady of the Lupin family, this matter does not concern you, Uncle Theon. Theon's eyes widened in surprise. He hadn't expected the 8-year-old young lady to respond to him like that. After a moment of silence, he said, "You have a point." Harper went to the bookshelf, and the book in her hand automatically returned to its original place. Harper felt that the contents of this book didn't match her situation. She had neither the dragon's eye nor any magical power. Instead of reading this absurd book, she turned to Theon. "Uncle, I want to see a map of the Empire." The girl finally got the map of the Empire she had been longing for. But the moment she opened it, she froze. A large amount of blue magical energy poured out of the book, quickly coalescing into a floating, bluish-purple sphere. Its surface was covered with strange runes and patterns, shimmering with light but utterly baffling. Harper quickly turned to the butler, Theon, for help. "You don't know about the Accade's map method? The flow of magical energy on the continent can sometimes cause space to fold or distort, even connecting previously unconnected areas. For example, you could be walking through a forest and suddenly fall into the sea, or open your eyes to find yourself in a volcanic region." He lightly touched the surface of the sphere, and the magical energy within it swirled and twisted. "And with the help of the Accade's map, we can predict these magical connections." Harper couldn't help but marvel at the map's ingenuity, but she couldn't understand it at all. She hesitated, wondering whether to ask Theon to teach her. "Let me be clear, I will not teach you." Theon seemed to have read her mind. Harper was devastated. No way. Was he getting revenge for what happened earlier? But if she had to figure out on her own, it would take at least a month. And her sister, Callista, was coming back in a week. At that point, she wouldn't be able to move around the estate as freely as she could now. But Theon said faintly, "My lady, you have no use for such high-level magical knowledge at this stage. You would be better off reading fairy tales." Before he could finish, Thean suddenly started coughing violently, much worse than before. Seeing him painfully curl up, Harper was very worried. She tried to tell herself not to meddle, but she couldn't help wanting to do something for him. Just then, she once again noticed the purple scar on Thean's neck. She finally made up her mind and spoke. "Uncle, have you been poisoned by yellow nude grass before?" Due to its extreme toxicity, yellow nude grass is known as the devil's flower. Once poisoned, purple scars appear on the body, accompanied by violent coughing. Thean looked at Harper in surprise. "How do you know that?" It turns out, in her past life, Harper had also been poisoned by yellow nude grass. Just as she was suffering from the coughing fits, a maid from the Kenai region saved her. It seemed Thean didn't know the antidote yet. After all, in the Empire, people considered yellow nude grass an ominous thing and simply avoided it. Harper couldn't reveal that she had been reborn, so she could only explain that she had read it in a book. Many people say there is no cure for yellow nude grass poison, but that's not actually true. But Thean remained skeptical, because he had seen doctors all over the country, and they all said there was no cure for this poison. But in the Kenai region, people eat yellow nude grass as food. Is the yellow nude grass in Kenai not poisonous? It's all the same. It's just that the people of Kenai eat its roots along with it. Thean had a sudden realization. So that means the root of the yellow nude grass is actually the antidote. He remembered reading in a book that Kenai was the origin of yellow nude grass. The people there might really know the cure. Thean looked at Harper inquisitively. "Even if I were to ask how you know this, you probably wouldn't tell me the truth." Harper also breathed a sigh of relief. In any case, he finally believed her. Thean stood up, regaining his usual composure. 2 days from now, at 2 p.m., we will begin lessons on magical analysis. If you are late, I will give you a mountain of homework as punishment. Harper was stunned for a moment, then broke into a joyful smile. She could finally learn the Akai's map method. Thean was truly worthy of being first in his class at the Royal Academy. His teaching style was all about efficiency. In the blink of an eye, 5 days had passed. Think fast. What is the quickest route from Benin to Rutan? Harper stared at the magic map in front of her and answered with a slight stutter. First, ride a horse from Benin to the Lecon estate, then find a portal to Ballard in the southern forest. What if it's an emergency and you'd win 1,000 gold coins? At the mention of gold coins, Harper shot up from her seat. Then forget the forest. Jump straight down the Canyon waterfall. There's a portal there that leads directly to the beaches of Rutan. Breaking a leg for 1,000 gold coins is worth it. Harper's spirited look pleased Thean greatly. Correct. That's all for today's lesson. Harper asked him if the yellow nude grass poison was gone. I boiled the root and drank it, as he said. The cough is indeed better. Thank you, second young lady. I'm glad I could help you, uncle. Thean paused in the middle of sipping his tea. You don't have to keep calling me uncle. I'm not actually that old. Harper thought about it carefully. It seemed she didn't know Thean's secret. She only called him uncle because he seemed mature and steady. At this thought, Harper's face changed. You don't expect me to call you brother, do you? Absurd. My younger brother is twice your age. Thean suddenly knelt on one knee and said solemnly, from now on, please just call me Thean. The next morning, the maid Jenna kept urging Harper to get up. But after waking up early for classes several days in a row, Harper just wanted to snooze for 5 more minutes. My lady, have you forgotten what day it is? The next second, Harper shot up. Today was the day her sister was coming back. In her past life, the girl was killed by her own sister. Reborn, she now heard that her sister was about to return to the estate. Harper woke up with a start. It's too late. My good days are over. The maid Jenna gave Harper all sorts of instructions. Be sure to keep a low profile. Don't make eye contact with anyone. And don't show any unnecessary expressions. Her hairstyle should be the simplest, in order not to attract her sister's attention. Harper wore only a simple little black dress, so plain she could almost be mistaken for a maid. She walked towards the main hall, feeling uneasy. Watching the servants bustling about to welcome her sister, her anxiety grew. The thought of facing the sister who saw her as an enemy made her whole body stiffen with tension. To avoid drawing attention, she was about to find a remote corner to hide in, but she accidentally bumped into someone. What's wrong with you? Are you trying to slack off instead of working? Harper turned around to see a young boy with a wooden sword staring at her contemptuously. Lewis Evans, an apprentice knight of the Luperin Third Knight Order, and also the nephew of Duchess Clarissa. So it's you, the imposter. Dressed so shabbily, I thought you were a maid. Because he believed Harper was the Duke's illegitimate daughter, Lewis always called her an imposter and bullied her repeatedly. Lewis poked Harper with his wooden sword as usual, trying to trip her. But the reborn Harper was fed up with his bullying. This time, she decided not to tolerate it anymore. You're using a wooden sword outside of training hours. Does Commander Sawyer of the Night Order know about this? Lewis's face changed. What are you trying to do? If you dare tell the commander, I won't let you off. Harper didn't want to get entangled with him and turned to leave. I'm going to tell the commander everything you've done to me. Can't you check the situation before you cause trouble? My sister is about to arrive. Unexpectedly, Lewis suddenly flew into a rage. He grabbed Harper's clothes and cursed, "You damn brat, how dare you threaten me?" The sudden push made Harper lose her balance. Lewis was also pulled off balance. Amidst a scream, the two of them tumbled down the stairs together. Harper struggled to get up, but suddenly noticed an unusual silence around her. A tall figure stood before her. Harper had a bad feeling. She slowly raised her head and met a pair of blue eyes. Her sister, Callista, was looking at her coldly. Harper froze on the spot, staring at the familiar face from her memories, feeling a bit flustered. She tried to calm herself down. Don't be nervous. I should greet her first. Unexpectedly, Lewis suddenly rushed out from the side, grabbed Harper's arm, and threw her aside forcefully. Get out of the way. Don't block the path. He turned to Callista and said fawningly, I'm so sorry, Lady Callista. I am Lewis Evans. To think that someone as noble as you had to witness such an unsightly scene. Harper clutched her bruised face, dumbfounded. What does he mean by that? Is he trying to push all the blame onto me? Callista didn't respond, but spoke with a serious expression. When did the discipline in the Lupern estate become so lax? Sawyer, you tell me, is it really that difficult to teach an apprentice knight proper etiquette? At these words, the entire hall fell silent. The knight commander, Sawyer, immediately knelt to beg for forgiveness. This is all my failure. Please punish me. Seeing Sawyer, Harper's thoughts were pulled back to her past life. At that time, the Crown Prince was at war with Callista. Sawyer was unfortunately captured. She had pleaded with the Crown Prince. Please, Crane, please let the commander go. I owe him. When I was little, he saved me several times, disregarding my sister's orders. But the Crown Prince had stabbed Sawyer to death with his sword. Since he is the commander of the Lupern Knight Order, I have all the more reason not to let him go. Seeing him again now, Harper was filled with mixed emotions. At this moment, Callista noticed the wooden sword Lewis was carrying and ordered someone to bring her one as well. You are so insolent. You must be very confident in your skills. She raised her sword and pointed it at Lewis. Pick up your sword, apprentice knight. If you can defeat me, I will overlook everything that happened today. Lewis was stunned for a moment. He hesitated before raising his sword, thinking to himself, Callista is just a woman. After all, how strong can her swordsmanship be? This thought gave him a strange sense of confidence. Those knights must be going easy on her because of her status as a lady. And Clarissa, just you watch. I'm going to completely defeat this arrogant woman. Callista watched the man rushing towards her with cold eyes, sneering inwardly. So it's not confidence, but arrogance. With a casual block, she broke Lewis's attack. Taking advantage of her opponent's stunned moment, she instantly flashed in front of him. You don't even know who your opponent is. With a loud crack, Lewis's sword was actually split in two, and he was sent flying. Clarissa rushed to the unconscious Lewis. She berated Callista for casually injuring someone. But Callista paid her no mind, turning to Sawyer and saying, I cannot allow such a person to remain in the ducal estate. Sawyer, you will take full responsibility and leave with him. Hearing that Sawyer was to be kicked out, the servants began to murmur. The commander has served the ducal house loyally his entire life. Are they really just going to let him go like this? Harper couldn't bear to see Sawyer meet such a fate. She blurted out instinctively, it's all my fault. I was the one who started talking to Lewis. Falling down the stairs was also my responsibility. She bowed to Callista in apology. I'm sorry, sister. Please don't send Commander Sawyer away. Callista turned to look at Harper, her blue eyes showing no emotion. Long time no see, Harper Lupern. The moment that cold voice sounded, Harper's mind once again flashed back to her sister's warning from her past life. Do you think you can escape the name Lupern? Fear made her tremble uncontrollably. But Callista said nothing more, only ordering Sawyer to take Lewis away. If something like this happens again, don't expect to leave here unscathed. Thank you for your mercy, Lady Callista. Callista turned and left sharply, leaving Harper stunned on the spot. Is it over? But why is my body still shaking? As she relaxed, Harper felt dizzy. Amidst the servants' cries of alarm, her vision went black and she fainted. The eldest lady of the ducal house had just returned home, only to see her younger sister being bullied by an arrogant boy who then recklessly challenged her. The result, naturally, was that he was instantly defeated by Callista. Upon learning that the boy was the stepmother Clarissa's nephew, Callista sneered. That woman and the old fools in the Senate are really keen on planting their trash in my house. Her guard knight, Aramis, asked her if she wanted to completely dispose of the insolent boy. That little brat dared to be disrespectful to you. He deserved to have his arm broken. Callista's eyes narrowed. I taught him a lesson, not because of his incompetence, but because I hate dogs that bite their masters. Aramis paused, stunned. Could it be for Lady Harper's sake? Just then, Butler Theon suddenly burst in. My lady, you were looking for me? Aramis was very displeased with his abrupt entrance. Don't you know how to knock, you bastard? Or is your arm so weak you don't even have a strength for that? Theon raised a finger and adjusted his glasses. The lady said I could enter directly. Unlike some people whose heads are too simple to remember even that. Seeing the two of them bickering the moment they met, Callista sent Aramis away to make tea. As soon as Theon sat down, Callista got straight to the point. I heard a strange rumor. You become Harper's teacher. Theon's movements paused, but he didn't deny it. What is that child's level exactly? It's still unknown. The vague answer made Callista frown. A few years ago, when you were teaching Aramis mathematics at the academy, didn't you say the student was too stupid and that being a teacher gave you no sense of accomplishment? Callista's probing gaze fixed on Theon. For someone like you to defy my orders and insist on teaching a child, how could she possibly be mediocre? Or is it that the child also has the blood of Lupern flowing through her veins? Theon hurriedly explained, My lady, that child is not yet worthy of your vigilance. Callista's lips curved into a smile. You may go. However, my invitation for you to stand by my side is always open. Give me your answer when you've made up your mind. After leaving the study, Theon took off his glasses and let out a long breath. He muttered Callista's words to himself. Stand by her side? Gazing at the courtyard outside the window, his eyes became deep and unreadable. Lady Harper, it's time to wake up. The girl slowly opened her eyes to a gentle call. She realized the person before her was not her maid, Jenna, but a strange woman. She was instantly wide awake. Noticing the other person's striking red hair, Harper paused for a moment. She tentatively called out, Victoria? The woman's eyes curved as she smiled. My lady actually recognized me. It's truly my honor. Harper took a breath. Victoria Muller and Aramis Muller. This pair of twin siblings were known by everyone in the Lupern ducal estate. Hailed as a genius of swordsmanship and a genius of medicine respectively, the siblings were Callista's sword and shield. Harper found it strange. Why would someone like her be in her room? It turned out Victoria was examining Harper's health. Your constitution is a bit weak. If you eat well and rest on time, you'll gradually get better. I will instruct the kitchen to prepare some beneficial meals for you. Harper thanked her in a fluster. Victoria smiled gently. If you feel unwell anywhere, please call me anytime. Even after Victoria left, Harper still hadn't figured out what had just happened. Didn't I faint? Why will my sister's doctor come to treat me? What on earth is going on? It seems you have a lot of energy. Harper peeked out from under the covers. It was Theon. The man had a serious expression. You need to develop good sleeping habits. From now on, you will sleep at 10 p.m. and wake up at 7 a.m. Hearing that she couldn't sleep in anymore, Harper immediately protested. But then she noticed she was wearing a pair of thick, fluffy socks. These are socks to keep your feet warm. I brought many pairs. You must wear them every day from now on. Theon carefully tucked her in, saying earnestly, I heard about the young lady's health from Victoria. You must pay attention to staying warm and growing up healthy. Only then can you achieve great things in the future. Only then did Harper realize. Did Theon ask Victoria to come and see me? I believe she is more reliable than any other doctor in this estate. So, is Theon close with her? Not really, but I consider her an excellent colleague, especially compared to her twin brother. He bluntly stated that Victoria was far more intelligent than Aramis and predicted that within a few years, she would surely become the ducal family's chief physician based on her skills. Harper unconsciously burrowed into her blanket. Everyone believed that Victoria would have a brilliant future, but no one would have thought that someone so outstanding would end her own life not long after. The little girl had just stepped into the room when a cold female voice came from behind her. To dare to enter without permission, you're quite bold. Seeing the person, Harper froze on the spot. It was her sister who had always hated her, Callista. What was she doing here? The guard knight, Aramis, chimed in from the side. To dare to barge into the master's study. I thought it was an assassin. Turns out it's the second young lady. Callista's gaze swept over the yellow nude grass in her hand. Being young doesn't mean you're not an assassin. Look at the yellow nude grass in her hand. She probably wants to poison me to death. Hearing this, Harper panicked. She held up the yellow nude grass root in her hand and quickly explained, don't talk nonsense. This is a gift I prepared for Victoria. It turned out that just yesterday. Recalling the cause of Victoria's death in her past life, Harper couldn't help but feel sad. At that time, the head of the Senate, in order to eliminate Callista's capable aides, the Muller family, had long been controlling Victoria with drugs. After the conspiracy was exposed to avoid dragging Callista down, Victoria chose to sacrifice her own life. And Callista, upon learning the truth, completely purged the forces in the Senate that opposed her within a month and ascended to the position of heir. Thinking back now, her sister's desire to kill her probably started from that time. Anyone who could possibly threaten her had to be eliminated. If Victoria had still been alive at that time, perhaps she would have dissuaded her sister. Maybe she could have even bought some time for her own escape. In this life, Victoria must not be allowed to die. Harper made a firm decision. She asked Theon for some yellow newgrass roots. She planned to use this to get close to Victoria, change her fate, and save her. Which is to say, I'm saving myself. The next day, Theon not only brought the yellow nude grass roots, but also thoughtfully included instructions on their medicinal effects. He even took out a cute rabbit hat. It's getting cold, my lady. This will keep you warm. Harper happily swung the long ears of the hat, completely oblivious to the smile Theon was trying to suppress. As soon as she went out, Harper was stumped. She had no idea where Victoria's research lab was. If I had known this would happen, I should have asked Theon or Jenna to come with me. Harper wandered aimlessly around the ducal estate. Finally, she found a rather special-looking door. Could this be it? I'll go in and see first. Unexpectedly, as soon as she entered, she ran into her sister, Callista. Learning that Harper was looking for Victoria, Aramis kindly reminded her, "You've gone the wrong way. If you want to kill Victoria, you have to go to the second floor." Callista looked thoughtful. "So you want to take care of my personal physician first. You put some thought into it." Harper weakly explained that what she was holding wasn't poison, but Callista snatched it from her. She was about to stuff it into her mouth. "Whether it is or not, you could just prove it yourself." Harper's poor little face was held firmly, unable to move. She was so anxious she started to sweat. However, Callista pinched her small face, looking at it from left to right, but didn't move for a long time. "How interesting. The last time I saw you, you were so skinny and hiding in your room. Now you've become quite chubby." Callista tossed the yellow nude grass aside. She used both hands to knead Harper's cheeks. Soft and chubby. "It feels quite nice." Harper was on the verge of tears. Was this another new way for her sister to torture her? "Your eyes are very similar to our grandfather's. Both are light blue. He was a very remarkable person. But you are so stupid as to openly carry poison grass in your hand." Harper's heart skipped a beat. Was she implying that she was destined to fail? Just then, Victoria rushed in. "Goodness, Lady Callista, what are you doing to the second young lady?" Aramis calmly reminded her. "She's interrogating the assassin in the rabbit hat, and her target is you. Then she should be taken to the second floor for interrogation. Why are you pinching her face and bullying her?" Victoria didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She walked over to Harper and comforted her in a soft voice. "Second young lady, my research lab is on the second floor. If you want to kill me, you could just go there." Harper was completely speechless. What kind of people are these? She held up the yellow nude grass root and Theon's note in exasperation. "I'm really not here to kill anyone. I'm here to deliver medicine." Victoria had a sudden realization. Could this be the medicine that cured Butler Theon's cough? Only then did Callista learn that Theon's illness was cured. Victoria was very pleasantly surprised. "Second young lady, is this really for me?" Harper's near-tears expression from just a moment ago was replaced by a sincere smile. "Yes, because I especially like Victoria." The unexpected confession made Victoria momentarily stunned. She took Harper's little hand and started walking out. "Second miss, please come with me. As a return gift, I have prepared some super delicious cookies for you." Watching the two leave cheerfully, Callista stood frozen in place. They just left like that. As the Duchess of noble status, the woman had no say in the mansion. She frantically smashed things to vent her dissatisfaction. "How dare these detestable people humiliate me like this?" Suffering successive defeats at the hands of Harper and Callista made Clarissa feel completely humiliated. "It's simply unforgivable. Madam, you have so much energy so early in the morning. Even the vice president of the Senate, Orson, came, stepping over the mess on the floor, trying to calm her down. How can I be calm? Callista broke my nephew's arm and is also trying to kick my family off the supplier list. Do you know how much money that will cost? Orson was helpless and could only console her by saying the president was thinking of a solution. Clarissa sneered. In that case, let's move the previously discussed plan forward. Hearing this, Orson was startled, but that plan needs more time for preparation. So what? Did you think I've just been idly standing by all this time? Clarissa's expression turned sinister. I'm really looking forward to the day the Muller family falls into my hands. In the garden, Victoria was inviting Harper to enjoy afternoon tea. Seeing pink tea for the first time, Harper was very curious that I've never had this before. But compared to tea, I prefer desserts. She put down the teacup, picked up a cookie, and started eating it in big bites. As expected, sweet cookies are still the best. Watching Harper gobble down the food, Victoria couldn't help but smile. Miss Callista also likes this kind of cookie. This surprised Harper. To think that such a cold person would actually like to eat desserts. It's a secret. She actually likes sweets too, but she rarely eats them now. Harper was curious. Why? Victoria's expression dimmed slightly, probably because she doesn't want to be taken advantage of over trivial matters. Currently in the Senate, there are still quite a few people who hold grudges against Miss Callista. As everyone knows, the Senate and Callista's biological mother were sworn enemies. This is also why Callista has not yet been able to formally inherit the ducal title. Thinking of this, Harper was also a little speechless. Their Duke father not only doesn't help, but instead travels everywhere with his lover, living a very merry life. But now is not the time to worry about Callista. What about you, Victoria? Do the people in the Senate hate you too? But I like you. If the Victoria I like gets bullied by others, I'll be very sad. Harper's pouting look made it hard for Victoria to resist. She quickly comforted her, "Don't worry, Mississippi. I don't have contact with the people from the Senate. It shouldn't have reached the point of being hated." Hearing this, Harper felt slightly relieved. It seemed the Senate hadn't targeted Victoria yet, but she still had to investigate slowly. At this moment, she made a request to Victoria. "Regarding the research on the detoxifying effects of the yellow spiral grassroot, I hope you will conduct it alone." Victoria was a little surprised. Harper leaned in close to her and said in a low voice, "Because this is a reason I'm giving only to you." This reason moved Victoria deeply. Since it is the young Mrs. Wish, I will definitely complete it myself. Actually, Harper was afraid that others would steal the research results if they found out. But in the current situation, everyone would probably just see it as a child's tantrum and agree. Some more time passed. It was the day of Callista's graduation celebration banquet. Early in the morning, the maid Jean was worried about choosing a dress for Harper. Which one should I choose? Harper was getting impatient. Can't I just wear any of them? It's not my first time attending a banquet, but this is the first time you have so many dresses to choose from. Last time, when Butler Shawn learned you didn't have a dress, he directly allocated $100 million for me to go shopping. So I accidentally bought too many. Jean sighed helplessly. In that case, let's wear this yellow dress." Harper protested, "But this one is the ugliest. It's precisely because it's ugly that you have to wear it. Today, the entire banquet hall is decorated in gold. Wearing this, you can blend perfectly into the background, so low-key that you won't be easily noticed." Harper looked at the dress and had the thought of backing out. "Why don't I just not go? You still have to show your face. There are guests coming from the border today. You can leave after meeting them." Harper found it a bit strange. Father isn't even here, and there are still guests coming. Yes, the president of the Senate invited the Nitra family. A thought struck Harper. Isn't this the family that secretly carries out all sorts of illegal activities for President Agard? In her past life, the Nitra family only attended a banquet held by the ducal manor once. And it was precisely that time that Victoria fell into a trap they had set. A strong sense of foreboding washed over her. She hurriedly asked Jean to find Shawn. "I have something I must tell him before the banquet begins." The girl, dressed up, attended her sister's graduation banquet. Unexpectedly, wearing the yellow dress, she blended perfectly with the golden background of the hall, not attracting anyone's attention at all. Even the servant carrying a cake completely ignored her calls. A famished Harper decided to go to the kitchen to find something to eat. Unexpectedly, upon pushing the door open, she found the star of tonight's banquet, her sister Callista, sitting leisurely inside, eating cake. Harper was stunned. "Why is sister here? Did I go into the wrong room again? Are you also here to eat cake?" Callista suddenly spoke, catching Harper off guard. No? Then forget it. Callista glanced at her indifferently. Your dress today is very special. A trace of anticipation rose in Harper's heart. Yes, she complimenting me. It's too ugly. Don't wear it again. Harper was speechless. Didn't I wear it to avoid you? At that moment, Callista offered a piece of cake. Are you sure you don't want to eat? Harper immediately gripped the plate tightly, eagerly pulling it in front of her. I'll eat. Of course I'll eat. In a luxurious banquet hall, guests were gathered. A few noble young ladies were gathered together, discussing the most handsome men of the evening. Butler Shaun inevitably became a hot topic of their discussion. Look at that handsome and stern face, paired with a light blue attire. It's the perfect combination of rationality and elegance. If you ask me, the most handsome is still Knight Aramis. A man should be clad in armor, powerful and imposing. If he could fight for me, it would be my greatest honor. Hearing the heated debate, Aramis smugly approached Shaun. Shaun, I won. What are you talking about? There are 4 girls who like me, and only 3 who like you. Shaun was speechless, but he was in no mood to care about this right now. Just now, Harper had sent a maid with a message, telling him to pay close attention to Victoria's movements. Finally eating the cake, Harper couldn't help but exclaim, so sweet and delicious. Callista explained faintly, because too much sugar was accidentally added, it couldn't be served at the banquet. But Harper thought it tasted just right. Cake should be sweet and delicious. After saying this in unison, the 2 sisters were both stunned. Harper immediately became nervous, regretting that she had spoken out of turn in front of her sister. Unexpectedly, Callista suddenly took Harper's cake, personally scooped a small piece, and brought it to her mouth. Open up. This intimate gesture left Harper at a loss. What's going on? This isn't the Last Supper, is it? Callista's tone suddenly became serious. Don't wander around at banquets anymore in the future. You're still too young and easily taken advantage of. She gently wiped the cream from the corner of Harper's mouth. A life of being manipulated by others is very painful. No one in this mansion will help you, including me and father. Her sister's gaze felt unfamiliar to Harper. Have we ever looked at each other like this before? I think there was one time, in my past life, at the moment she was about to kill me. But what does her action now mean? Hasn't she always hated me? A complicated thought flashed through her mind. Could it be? Just then, Shaun suddenly burst in. Miss Harper, Victoria is missing. Harper's heart sank. Callista immediately asked what happened. She suddenly disappeared while dancing. And the last person she danced with was the second son of the Nitra family, Ivan Nitra. Callista's face instantly darkened. She knew how dirty the Nitra family's methods were. She immediately rushed out the door. Harper also hadn't expected that Victoria's disappearance from her past life, which happened 2 years later, would occur so much earlier. Shaun asked urgently, Miss Harper, did you know that Victoria would disappear? Do you know where she is now? Harper took a deep breath, trying hard to recall information from her past life. If you tell me the location, I will immediately order the knights to search. That will be too late, Shaun. From now on, don't ask any questions. Just do as I say. At this moment, Victoria was sleeping in a strange room. When she struggled to wake up, she found someone else in the room. Ivan Nitra. Glad to see you, Victoria. From now on, you will serve a new master, the Duchess Clarissa. However, she has a strange hobby, which is to crush the family's chief physician under her heel. Victoria stared deadly at the man before her. Why should I listen to you? Ivan smiled contemptuously. That's right. You don't have to listen. However, it will soon be 24 hours since you last ate the Kelly fruit. Victoria was shocked. It was a demonic valley fruit that could cause addiction. The poisoned person would suffer severe pain throughout their body and have difficulty breathing. Only continuous consumption could alleviate it. Hurry up and kneel, Victoria. Offer everything you have to the Duchess now. Ivan looked at his watch and began to count down 0.5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The genius doctor was kidnapped and even given an addictive poison. The kidnapper, Ivan, calculated the time and declared smugly, Hurry up and submit, Victoria. Offer everything you have to the Duchess now. However, until the countdown ended, nothing happened. What's going on? Is my watch broken? Victoria calmly stood up. Then go get your watch fixed. I'll be leaving. But the next second, she was surrounded. Stop. Even if the plan failed, I can't just let you go. The Nitra family never leaves loose ends. Before he could finish his sentence, a piece of cake hit him squarely on the head. Ivan looked at the brown, unidentified substance on his hand and cursed. Damn it. Who did that? The man turned his head and saw Harper, holding a cake, furiously roaring at Ivan. "Let Victoria go." Ivan was a little surprised. "This room is sealed." "How did you get in?" He pulled out a dagger and advanced on Harper. "But now that you're here, don't even think about leaving." Harper took a step back and calmly retorted, "Would President Agard of the Senate approve of you doing this? If you kill me, my sister Callista will become the sole heir of the ducal manor. Wouldn't that just cause more trouble for the Senate?" Harper's words made Ivan hesitate, but he then grabbed the girl's arm. "You know too much. Die, you arrogant little brat." The raised dagger glinted with a cold light. At the critical moment, a powerful force approached at high speed, instantly hitting Ivan. Before anyone could react, Callista, surrounded by blue magic, appeared like a goddess of war. "Get away from that child, you trash." At this time, Shaun also hurried over. Harper was overjoyed. It turned out that when Shaun had asked her about Victoria's whereabouts just now, Harper had directed him and Callista to the room that was sealed after the previous duke's death. As long as her sister was here, the seal was not a problem at all. Callista used her magic, opening a shield to defend against the attacks of Ivan and his minions. Ivan curled his lip in contempt. Everyone in the Nitra family knows magic. How long can you last on your own? The man's eyes grew more vicious. "You will all soon die at my hands." "You can try." Ivan thought he had victory in his grasp, but suddenly heard the sound of a wall shattering behind him. With a loud bang, the entire wall suddenly collapsed. Amidst the dust and smoke, Knight Aramis walked in with a murderous aura. "You pieces of trash really don't know what's good for you." His ferocious appearance scared Ivan into begging for mercy. With a flash of Aramis's sword, Ivan had become a ghost under his blade. "What's with all the barking? So annoying." Watching Aramis take care of Ivan's minions in 2 moves, Harper's eyes were full of admiration. That was so amazing. But Callista criticized him for being reckless. "Didn't I tell you to be careful indoors? Look, blood even splattered on the dress." Aramis looked innocent. "There's no blood on your clothes." "Not me, it's Victoria. Can't you be more considerate of your sister?" Victoria, who was inexplicably splattered with blood, stomped her feet in anger. But Aramis didn't care at all that it's just a little. Callista sighed helplessly. She looked at Harper at her side, about to say something. Just then, Harper suddenly saw a masked man preparing a sneak attack on Callista. She subconsciously pushed her sister away, but was herself caught by the neck by magic. Amidst Callista's cry of alarm, Harper was already firmly held by the masked man. "Nice. Caught another useless hostage." That voice was Vice President Orson. Orson decided not to pretend anymore. "Miss Callista, you are indeed sharp. If you don't want Miss Harper to die here, then let me go." Seeing Harper's pained expression, Callista frowned deeply. "You bastard. If you want to save her, have your people back down. I'll leave her on the northern cliff. You can go find her yourself." Hearing this, Harper was stunned. Only a ghost would believe you. Suddenly, a dagger was accurately inserted into Orson's back. The person who did it was actually Victoria. Orson collapsed to the ground in disbelief. "How is this possible? Aren't you a doctor?" "But I'm also the true daughter of a military general. Besides, I grew up with that madman." Victoria gently caressed the dagger. "I've already coated it with poison. You will soon fall into a peaceful sleep." Orson died, unreconciled. Harper was also shocked by Victoria's contrast. The gentle doctor sister actually had such a ruthless side, but it didn't matter, as long as she was safe and sound. Harper was about to get up, when her legs suddenly gave out and she lost her balance, only to be caught steadily by Callista. Both sisters were taken aback. Harper was confused. How could sister? And then she lost consciousness. When Harper woke up again, she found herself still in the same room. But everyone else was gone. In a way, did they just leave me here alone? She turned around in disappointment, only to see a crying figure. It was actually her past self. Looking at the other's scarred body, memories of Harper's past life flooded back. At that time, she was in a hurry to escape the ducal manor and had accidentally discovered the secret passage to this room. She walked towards her crying self and comforted her softly. "Don't cry. This time, we will definitely change our fate and live a happy life." Callista gazed at the sleeping Harper, quietly listening to her murmurs in her dream. Seeing her sister, who had always hated her, about to face danger, Harper pushed her away without hesitation, only to be kidnapped, injured, and fall unconscious herself. Gazing at the unconscious Harper, Callista's heart was filled with an indescribable, complex emotion. She asked Shaun about the progress of the kidnapping investigation. The mastermind has not yet been identified. The other party seems to be intentionally hiding their identity. What about the Duchess? Is she also unrelated? It seems so for now. All actions were carried out under the name of Vice President Orson. But the Duchess's personal maid might know something. Callista frowned. Those old foxes haven't been cunning for just a day or two. Callista decided to completely eliminate the Nitra family as a warning to others. At this moment, she thought of Harper. The yellow spiral grass that Child gave Victoria for research seems to have perfectly neutralized the poison in her body, just like it cured your cough. Shaun was also surprised. It's said to be because she frequently smelled the scent of the grassroot during her research. How fortunate! Callista's eyes were sharp. Then do you think Harper entering the sealed room was also due to luck? Even I had to break through layers of magical seals to get in. Aramis directly broke through the wall. But Harper's speed was faster than anyone else's. This means the seal in the room resonated with her magic. But Miss Harper believes she has no magic. If she really had no magic, it would have been impossible for her to see the magical fluctuations when Orson made his move. She was the first to notice and act. Seeing Callista's serious expression, Shaun couldn't help but worry. Callista was actually starting to care about Harper. But right now, Harper had no foundation. Starting the struggle for succession now was far too dangerous. But that wasn't what Callista was concerned about. Her eyes were filled with confusion. That child is clearly afraid of me. But why would she trust me? Why would she risk her life to save Victoria and herself? And why did she try to save me? I can't understand it at all. After a moment of silence, Callista prepared to leave. Notify me the moment that Child wakes up. Shaun breathed a sigh of relief. He went to Harper's room and quietly watched the sleeping girl. Sleep well, my master. When Harper opened her eyes, she thought she was still dreaming. She saw unfamiliar maids vying to serve her. The room's furnishings were brand new, filled with luxurious furniture. And the maid, Jean, looked thrilled as if the young miss had finally made it. Shaun directed the maids, tidying the room. These are Miss Callista's orders. We are to provide the second miss with everything she needs. And that huge group photo of the Duchess and her two daughters was also thrown out. Before Harper could react, Shaun personally served an exquisite meal. This is cream soup and top-grade steak. Please enjoy. Suddenly faced with such hospitality, Harper couldn't help but suspect that her sister was trying to poison her. She tentatively took a bite and was instantly conquered by the delicious taste that you've been unconscious for a long time and haven't recovered your strength. Please eat more, my master. Harper was so shocked by this address that she almost choked. Master? What master? Just then, the Duchess Clarissa stormed in furiously. Where did you take my personal maid, Salia? Her words stopped abruptly as she stared, dumbfounded, at Harper's brand new room and piles of gifts. Seeing a maid massaging Harper, Clarissa was even more furious. Shaun, are you crazy? The ducal manor has a clear hierarchical system. How dare you assign my maid to this brat without my permission? Harper glanced at the maid behind her. In a wonder the massage is so comfortable. Clarissa ordered the maids to move the gifts, but no one dared to move. Just as she was about to erupt again, Callista suddenly appeared. If I keep listening to Madam's shouting, my hearing might suffer. She dismissed everyone, wanting to speak with the Duchess alone. Noticing Harper about to slip away, she said, "You don't have to leave. You're the second miss of the Lupien family and the owner of this room. No one can force you to leave." As soon as they sat down, Clarissa accused Callista, "I know this is all you're doing. I am your mother. How dare you disrespect me like this?" Callista's voice was icy. "You are mistaken. I have my own mother. She lives with the Litra family, and you have no children at all." Clarissa trembled with anger. "So you just take my maid away? Where on earth did you take Salia? Your maid is missing. Why are you asking me?" Harper felt a headache watching the two at daggers drawn. Clarissa tried to use her status to suppress her. "Were you putting on this head of the household, Act 4? The mistress of the ducal manor is me, not you. So, as the mistress, you colluded with the Senate, is that it?" Callista hit the nail on the head. Clarissa's face instantly turned ashen. Aramis may seem cold, but he is very protective of his family. But recently, his sister encountered some accidents. Callista pointed downwards. Right now, he is downstairs chatting with someone. Perhaps that person is the one Madame is looking for. Hearing this, Clarissa felt as if she had fallen into an ice cellar. Cold sweat poured down, and she couldn't stop trembling. Callista nonchalantly fiddled with her hair. All the people you've placed in the ducal manor will be expelled. She reached out and put her arm around Harper's shoulder, warning Clarissa. You are not to enter this room again in the future. If you disturb this child's meal again, I will kick out all your remaining maids.